All right, good morning, everybody. So the next activity that we have coming up is we are now in week 8, so that's May 11th to the 15th. And we're going to have our first activity for today, is really going to be involving you making some predictions. And so we're going to be looking at two different landforms. You know that there are tectonic plates. You know that they are moving all around the world. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at two different locations today. We're going to be looking at the Andes Mountains that surround the west coast of Chile and the islands of Hawaii. So we know that tectonic plates are massive, massive, massive pieces of rock, but they're slowly being moved by the mantle. And this is going to allow us to get different features around the world. So we're going to go ahead, let's take a look at what the Andes Mountains look like. So here's a little flyover in Santiago, which is the capital of Chile. So this is what I want you to pay attention to. So if you look in the background, you're going to start to see small mountains and hills. Chile is awesome. One, because it's right on the water, but two, on the other side of the city, there are the mountains, the Andes Mountains. So pay attention to the rest of this video. Try to look for the mountains. All right, so this is what we are going to be focusing on, these Andes Mountains right over here. So what's going to be happening is for the first part of this activity, you're going to be making a model. And the goal of this model is to show really how and what needed to have happened to the tectonic plates to get them to form the Andes Mountains. Now, in your model, you almost want to make the model in like 3 different parts to show like in the beginning, in the middle, and maybe currently, which is the end, which is now. What do you think was happening to tectonic plates to get them to interact the way they are today? So if we look here at Google Earth, and we flip back over here, see Santiago was really awesome because if we look, so here is Chile, runs along the whole South America, I guess basically continent itself. And then if you look, it's really right, here's the ocean, here's the Andes Mountains. And so Chile is really situated in this really cool place where they have the beach, the ocean, but they also have massive Andes Mountains. So your goal today is to show in one model how you think the Andes Mountains were formed. Now, remember, it's a how do you think question. There are no wrong answers. I want you to get your ideas out there. If your ideas are all correct, perfect. If some of your ideas are not correct, that's also fine too. Because we're going to be getting into that later this week as to how they were formed. And then last but not least, we are going to be looking at one other location, which many of you are familiar with. We're going to be looking at Hawaii. So if we go on over to Google Earth and we go to Hawaii. So Hawaii, in the middle of the ocean. We have the United States over here, and over here, way far away, Hawaii. Now, Hawaii, as you can see, there isn't a whole lot of other things that surround Hawaii. It's pretty much kind of out in the ocean by itself. So your goal today is then to come up with a second model that shows how you think Hawaii was formed. So let's go ahead, let's take a quick look at some features of Hawaii. Okay, so With Hawaii itself, your goal then is, remember, it's the same thing it's basically very similar to the Andes Mountains with your model. Now, the two are not formed the same way, but with your models, I want you to sort of think about this idea as the same thing as how do you think they were formed? Hawaii sits out in the middle of the ocean, not surrounded by a whole lot. I mean, just a lot of ocean. So there's Hawaii. So your goal is to show how these two were formed. Now, you do not need to be correct, but I want you to put some effort into this. Just try to be confident with putting your ideas out there. So what you're going to be submitting to me are the two models. One model for how you think the Andes Mountains were formed, and the other model is going to be for the islands of Hawaii. You'll be learning about how these all form later on this week, but the goal is to, once again, get your ideas out there, to get you thinking, get you trying to figuring out how did plate tectonics and how were they involved, making these two really, really cool locations. All right. Thanks for watching.